Good morning, folks. It is the 2nd of October, and this is your No Banker Left Behind Bailout Bill Update. I want to get right to it. We had a little technical problem. YouTube decided last night they weren't going to accept uploads for, I don't know when, up until the point that I gave up and went to bed. I decided to re-record the video for last night this morning, primarily because I think we need to back off, take a little bit deeper look at this. Anyway, we had Jim DeMint on Mark Levin's show yesterday afternoon on the radio. There's a clip on the radio. Here you go. Mark Levin, you're a great American. You got a brain in your head, too.
The core of the bill is we give the Secretary of the Treasury $700 billion to buy up bad loans all over the world. Doesn't have to be a mortgage. It can be a car loan. It can.
All right, stop right there, Senator. All over the world.
Sure. And frankly, I believe all over the world is more the motivation than the local bank, because I think this is just my theory, so I'm not passing around as fact, but I think China and Saudi Arabia are holding a lot of these securitized mortgages, and I think they've basically said they're not going to loan us any more money until we buy them back.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, the United States federal government didn't make any bad mortgages. Did not make one bad LBO loan. Didn't make one bad auto loan. Didn't make one bad credit card loan. The federal government had exactly nothing to do with this. This is a private contract dispute. If there are foreign investors, whether they be governments or private individuals, we have a method to resolve these things. It's called a judge and a court. That is how civilized individuals in a civilized society solve their disputes. They take you to court, they sue you, and they go try to get your money. Now, granted, some of these businesses have since gone under, but the fact remains that the federal government wasn't involved in any of this. Oh yeah, you can say, well, the CRA forced the banks to make these loans, yada, yada, yada. Guys, stop being mouth breathers. If the federal government tells me that I have to do something that makes my business non-viable, then I stop conducting that business. I've done this before. When I ran MCS, we had government contracts. The government at one point came in and told me I had to piss test all my employees. I read the statute. The statute required no such thing. The statute required that we have a drug-free workplace. We had a drug-free workplace. Official policy of the corporation. You may not be intoxicated nor possess any intoxicating substance on the grounds of the corporation. If you are subject to immediate dismissal. I don't care what it was. I don't care if it was booze, weed, whatever have you. That's a reasonable policy. It complies with the law. It told the government to go get stuffed. Now, if they had in turn told me they weren't going to give me any contracts, that's a choice. You're never forced, folks. This is a free society. This is America. As far as the Chinese and the Saudis, what they're committing, if this is true, and remember now, this is the second person in Congress to make this sort of a statement, is extortion. Furthermore, this is akin to declaring an economic war on the United States. We have been attacked before, ladies and gentlemen. Remember December 7th, 1941? Yeah. You know, the Japanese decided to send a couple little friendly planes over Pearl Harbor. Imagine what the public reaction would have been if the President of the United States had concealed that. Somehow I suspect that 1 million angry Americans would have shown up on the White House lawn with pitchforks, torches, and maybe some shotguns. It's no different here, ladies and gentlemen. The declaration of economic war is just as punishing as a declaration of shooting war. I don't care whether you declare your war with your economic forces, your naval forces, or your air forces. It's all the same piece when you get down to analyzing this. So if in fact this has taken place, it is my contention that the Secretary of the Treasury and President Bush owe the United States citizenry a public statement of this fact. That's when the debate ensues as to what we're going to do about it. You do not come to the House and Senate leadership, sirs, and tell them that the economy is going to collapse due to events inside the United States if that is not true. If the main driver of these policies is in fact foreign extortion, you have an obligation to come to the American people and tell us the truth. And if it's not, then you have an obligation to come to the American people and explain to us why Secretary Paulson's plan to buy $700 billion worth of toxic assets was the only plan that you would consider, and that you would veto any plan that had a prohibition against buying those assets if they were held by foreigners, or if they were written on foreign property. Sirs, you have an obligation to this because it is not your money, it's ours. It is not your economic security, it is our economic security. Senator McCain, Senator Obama, as far as I'm concerned, until one of the two of you decides that this is going to be the policy of the United States, that you're going to be fair, honest, and disclose to the American public what you were told when you were told it, you are both unqualified to be President of the United States. Senator McCain, you may claim that you are a war hero, but this is a war. Heroes lead, sir. They don't conceal. Heroes can wrap themselves in flag all they want, but then they go out in front of the troops, not cowering behind a piece of wood or looking for some form of cover. Senator Obama, you've never done this sort of thing. You've never been in the military. You lived a life of privilege your entire life. Oh, I know you claim you haven't. But from where I sit, you certainly have. Community activism, yeah, okay. We know all about it. But again, if this is an undeclared economic war, you owe the American people an explanation too. We know you guys are getting the briefings, so stop bullshitting the American people. As for the 74 mouth breathers in the United States Senate, you deserve to be brought up on treason charges. Why? Because you have an obligation to the American people. You're supposed to be the more deliberative body of the two. You're supposed to take time to hold more hearings. You're supposed to be the ones that do more thinking. You're supposed to be the more careful of the two legislative arms of the United States government, and you're not. If indeed Mr. DeMint's allegations are true, and you refuse to act on them, you all deserve to be thrown out of office and tried. But whether they're true or not, senators, debate on this bill should have stopped until this was investigated. Hearings should have been held. The truth should have been dug up, put out there for the public to see. That is your job. To the members of the House who are reviewing this, it's still your job. And you know what? You got copies of this paper too. This was faxed to every one of the senators prior to the vote. I have delivery receipts. I got the phone bills to prove it. I have spent thousands of dollars faxing pieces of paper just like this to every single House and Senate member, along with a proposal that will solve the problem. Thousands of petition signatures, warnings, and requests that you step back, take the time, and figure out what's really going on. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, ladies and gentlemen in America, doing the right thing is not easy. Most of the time, in fact, it is very difficult. But it is your obligation. We live in a time when not all of those people who would hurt us use planes, bombs, and missiles. If we need to have a debate about this country and its fiscal capability, what we need to cut back on in order to get off that foreign teat, that's a debate we need to have. If we're going to choose to knuckle under to extortion, that's a choice we have a right to make. But it's a decision we should make with the facts, not because it's hidden under a carpet. Have a good day.